The garden was at its best, in the late afternoon. That's what Linnea always thought, anyway, when the light turned golden and slanted through the willow branches, when the heat of the day had passed, but the warmth still lingered in the soil. She pushed open the gate, her canvas bag heavy with seedlings she'd been meaning to plant for weeks. The community garden was quiet today. Most people came in the mornings, before work. But Linnea had always preferred the in-between hours. The times when the world felt a little softer. She was halfway to her plot when she saw her. Mira. Kneeling by the tomato beds, her hands deep in the earth, hair pulled back in that messy way that never stayed put. She looked up at the sound of the gate, and her whole face brightened. "You came," Mira said, like she'd been hoping. Linnea felt something warm settle in her chest. "I came." They'd been sharing this garden space for 3 months now. Not sharing, exactly. Mira had her plots, Linnea had hers, but their sections ran side by side, separated only by a narrow path and a sprawling patch of lavender that belonged to neither of them. Mira was the kind of gardener who planted with abandon. Tomatoes next to marigolds, next to zucchini, that threatened to take over everything. Linnea had watched her, week after week, tending to this beautiful chaos, with her hands and her laughter, and her complete disregard for spacing guidelines. Linnea's own plot was more careful. Neat rows, labeled stakes, everything in its place. Mira teased her about it sometimes. "You know plants can't read, right?" She'd said once, pointing at Linnea's hand-lettered markers. "I can read," Linnea had replied, trying not to smile. "Fair enough." Now, Linnea set down her bag and pulled out the seedlings, basil, mostly, and a few late-season herbs she'd started on her windowsill. Mira stood, brushing dirt from her knees, and came over to look. "Basil," she said approvingly, "the good kind." "Is there a bad kind?" "Absolutely, the kind that bolts in 2 weeks and makes you feel like a failure." Linnea laughed. "That's very specific." "I've lived it." They worked in companionable silence for a while. Mira went back to her tomatoes, tying up vines that had grown wild. Linnea dug small holes for her seedlings, pressing them gently into the earth. The air smelled like soil, and green things, and the faint sweetness of something blooming nearby. It felt easy, being here with her. That was the thing Linnea kept noticing, how easy it was. How she didn't have to explain herself, or fill every silence, or worry about saying the wrong thing. With Mira, she could just be. "Can I tell you something?" Mira asked suddenly. Linnea looked up from her planting. "Sure." Mira sat back on her heels, glancing around, like she was checking to see if anyone else was listening. The garden was empty, except for them. "I lied on my application," Mira said. "Your garden application?" "Yeah." "They asked if I had experience, and I said yes, but I'd never grown anything in my life." She grinned, a little sheepish. "I just really wanted a plot." Linnea blinked. "But your tomatoes, YouTube," Mira said, "and a lot of trial and error, mostly error." "You're joking." "I'm not. My first zucchini plant died in a week. I overwatered it, drowned the poor thing." Linnea stared at her, then started laughing, the kind of surprised, delighted laugh that bubbled up without permission. "What?" Mira said, grinning wider now. You always seem so confident, like you know exactly what you're doing." "I'm faking it," Mira said cheerfully, extremely effectively, apparently. Extremely. They looked at each other, and something passed between them, something warm, and a little electric. Linnea felt it then, that flutter low in her stomach, the one she'd been trying not to name for weeks. She looked away first, focusing on her hands, on the dirt under her nails. "Well," she said, trying to sound normal, "your tomatoes are thriving, so whatever you're doing, it's working." "Thanks." Mira's voice was softer now. "You want to know my secret?" "What?" "I talked to them." Linnea looked up, surprised. "The tomatoes?" "All of them, the tomatoes, the zucchini, the basil. I tell them they're doing great, I compliment their leaves." She shrugged. "Plants respond to attention, that's what the internet says, anyway." Linnea felt her chest tighten, in a way that had nothing to do with gardening. "Do you talk to yours?" Mira asked. "No," Linnea admitted, "I just water them, and hope for the best." "You should try it, it helps." "Talking to plants." "Talking to anything," Mira said, and her eyes held Linnea's, for just a moment too long. Linnea's hands were shaking slightly, when she went back to her seedlings. She didn't know what was happening here, or maybe she did, and she just didn't know what to do about it. Mira had always been friendly, warm, the kind of person who smiled easily and made everyone feel welcome. Linnea had assumed that's just who she was, open, affectionate, unguarded. But lately, there'd been moments. Small things, the way Mira's hand would brush hers when they were both reaching for the watering can. The way she'd linger after they'd finished for the day, like she was looking for reasons not to leave. The way she looked at Linnea sometimes, like she was trying to figure something out. Linnea pressed a seedling into the soil, covered its roots, patted the earth down gently. She wanted to ask. She didn't know how. They worked until the sun started to dip behind the buildings, painting everything in shades of amber and rose. Mira stretched, arching her back, and sighed contentedly. "I love this time of day," she said. "Me too. It's like the world takes a breath." Linnea nodded. She knew exactly what Mira meant. "Hey," Mira said, brushing dirt from her hands. "You want to sit for a bit? I brought tea." "You brought tea to the garden?" "I brought a thermos." She pulled it from her bag, along with 2 mismatched mugs. "I was hoping you'd show up." Linnea's heart did something complicated. "Okay," she said. They sat under the willow tree, the one that grew in the corner of the garden, its branches creating a canopy that made everything underneath feel secret and safe. Mira poured tea into both mugs and handed one to Linnea. Their fingers touched briefly, and Linnea felt that warmth again, the one that had been building all afternoon. "Chamomile," Mira said, "I grew it myself." "You grew this?" "First thing I didn't kill." She grinned. "I was very proud." They sipped in silence for a moment. The tea was good, floral and soothing. Linnea didn't know how to say what she was feeling, didn't know if she should. But sitting here, under the willow tree, with the golden light filtering through the leaves, and Mira so close, she could feel the warmth of her. It felt like the right moment. Or at least, like a moment she didn't want to let pass. "Mira," she said quietly. "Yeah? Why did you hope I'd show up?" Mira looked at her, and something shifted in her expression, something vulnerable. "Honestly?" "Honestly." Mira set down her mug and picked at a blade of grass. "Because I like it when you're here. The garden's nice on my own, but it's better when you're around." Linnea's breath caught. "I like it when you're here too," she said. "Yeah? Yeah." They looked at each other, and Linnea saw it, the same uncertainty she was feeling mirrored back at her. The same quiet hope. "I've been wanting to ask you something," Mira said. "What?" "If you'd want to, I don't know, get coffee sometime, outside of the garden." Linnea's heart was racing now, like a date, Mira said, and there was a tremor in her voice. If you'd want that." Linnea felt like the world had tilted slightly. In a good way. In the best way. "I would," she said, "I'd really like that." Mira's whole face lit up. "Yeah? Yeah." And then Mira was reaching for her hand, tentative, careful, and Linnea let her. Let their fingers tangle together in the grass between them. "I was so nervous to ask," Mira admitted. "Why?" "Because I didn't know if this was just me." "It's not just you." Mira laughed, soft and relieved. "Okay. Good, that's really good." They sat like that, hands linked, the willow branches swaying gently above them. Linnea thought about all the weeks she'd spent here, all the afternoons she'd told herself she was just coming to tend her garden. All the times she'd shown up, hoping Mira would be here too. She'd been so careful, so afraid of wanting something she might not get to have. But here it was. Right here, under the willow tree. They stayed until the light was almost gone. Talked about small things, what coffee shop they should try, what day worked best, whether Mira's tomatoes would survive the week without her constant attention. Normal things, good things. When they finally stood to leave, Mira kept hold of Linnea's hand. "Walk me to the gate?" she asked. "Okay." They walked slowly, their shoulders brushing, neither of them in any hurry. At the gate, Mira turned and looked at Linnea with an expression so open, it made Linnea's chest ache. "I'm really glad you came today," Mira said. "Me too." "And I'm really glad you said yes." "Me too." Mira leaned in, just slightly, and pressed a kiss to Linnea's cheek. Soft, brief, perfect. "I'll text you," she said. "Okay." And then she was gone, the gate swinging shut behind her, and Linnea was standing there, alone in the garden she'd come to love. But it didn't feel lonely. It felt full. Linnea walked back to her plot, one more time, just to check that everything was settled for the night. Her basil seedlings looked good, sturdy, like they'd take root just fine. She touched one gently, the way she'd seen Mira do with her tomatoes. "You're doing great," she whispered. And then, because no one was there to hear her, because it felt right, "I think I am too." The garden was quiet in the gathering dusk. The willow tree swayed in the breeze. And Linnea thought, this is just the beginning. She didn't know if today would be the last time she'd feel this nervous hope, this gentle certainty. But she knew she wanted more of it. More afternoons like this, more moments under the willow tree, more Mira. She locked the gate behind her and walked home through the soft evening light. And for the first time, in longer than she could remember, she felt like she was walking towards something instead of away from it.